All right. Shalom, everybody. This is your brother, Aki Ori. Uh, Today's subject is who is my brother, and this lesson will cover how the other nations who are not Yashar'el relate into salvation, how it can be obtained. And let's see, let me go to right. Yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and press on. Let's see. See. Oh, can I move this out the way? All right. Okay, now I'll just leave it. See, the order of things. There you go. Uh, who did Yahuwah make a covenant with? Basic question. I'm pretty sure most of Yasharal knows who's going to be watching this later, or who is in the chat right now. But it's just something we need to cover just to establish that the thought process of the Most High and how He's structured things according to His word. So, anybody got a quick question? I mean, not quick question, a quick answer. I'm pretty sure most of you probably know it offhand.
Yashar'el.
Correct. And that started with, I guess you could say, in a somewhat of a sense. Who wants to read Genesis 15, 1 through 16?
Gotcha, brother.
All right.
All right, so better sheet 15, 1 through 16. I think I'll be reading. No, let me switch to the KJV. All right. After these things, verse 1, after these things, the word of Yahuwah came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, You are Elohim. What wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus. And Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am Yahuwah that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit. And he said, You are Elohim, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me an heifer 3 years old, and a she goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowl came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, an horror, of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and it shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. Oh, 16. But in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not full yet.
There there you go. So that answers, we had to start at, where the covenant began in a more, I guess you could say, official technical sense. Some say, if you want to go back to Adam and Eve, you can. But right here in the official kind of like announcement to where it was clear to not only Yasharal or who will become Yasharal, but to those of the other nations where they can pinpoint where such a covenant will be made. It starts at Abraham, which we know eventually goes to Isaac and Jacob. And we're gonna, clarify that too, because we got to start at, kind of like in a broad sense and narrow it down, because we know that pretty much everybody here on the earth, except for some weird extenuating circumstances, if they've had some minglings of a seed of a different kind, that mostly everybody on earth today is descendant from Abraham. But we got to start here, and then we got to whittle it down to, make it clear who the covenant is actually for. Right? Who is the wife and son of Avram, or Abraham, not Avram, who would keep the covenant, who was the wife and son. Because we got, as far as we can tell, we got 4 contenders, but only 2 of them are correct.
You're talking about Sarah and Isaac?
Correct. Can you go ahead and read it, Cody?
I don't see so the image that I have is just shows who is my brother. I don't see the other slides. So what scripture I need to go to?
Okay, Genesis 17, verses 15 through 19.
Genesis 17.
Yeah, I didn't even say that. Sorry about it. It looks like you have all of the slides on I don't know which monitor you're presenting, but it looks like the one where you can still see all of the slides
Oh, okay.
right
Well,
now.
here, let me do this.
We can't read it though, you know what I'm saying? It's super small, but yeah.
Are you waiting for me to read, or you trying to put the slides out?
Make it to where y'all can see it. That's weird. I ain't never seen that. No.
Yeah, I just see who is my brother, like the big title is there, and then there's the slide on the side, but the big slide just says, who is my brother? There you go.
Boom.
All right.
Okay, that's what it was.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, because I'm
So
not using.
Bereshit,
Yeah, I'm not using Microsoft Office. I'm using only Office. It's a free Office, so yeah, there's some little quirks, but there you go.
thank you. Bereshit, Genesis 17, 15 to 19. I read out of the Sefer. And Elohim said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, your woman, you shall not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give you a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before you. And Elohim said, Sarah, your woman, shall bear you a son, indeed, and you shall call his name Yitzhak. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
There you go. Okay, so now we've narrowed this down to where, not everybody's getting in, not even from Abraham's own direct bloodline, or not getting in, but not everybody is receiving the covenant. And now we're going to narrow it down even further. Let's see. There we go. Who is the son of Yitzhak to keep the covenant of Abraham?
Yaakov.
Correct. And then who wants to get Genesis 25, 20 through 34? And then we can get somebody to get, it's a little bit of a long read on 27, chapter 27 of Genesis 1 through 29. And then we'll go to Jubilees chapter 2, 21 through 22. And this kind of help that'll kind of help round it out and give context to the situation that we'll read in 27 of Genesis.
Get Genesis 25, 20 through 34.
Go right ahead out whenever you're ready.
All right, and I'm reading out of KJV. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahuwah for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahuwah was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated by thy bowels. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. So Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob saw pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we see how Yaakov it obtains one of 2 important things: the birthright. One, because Esau himself didn't even see a need for it, which was definitely unwise. And 2, the Most High put into motion a little bit of espionage, or what's the other term? Deceptiveness, to, I guess, right a wrong that was that had started inside the womb of Sarah, and or not Sarah, but of what was it, Rebecca, right? Yeah, Rebecca. All right, and who wants to get chapter 27 of Genesis 1 through 29?
I'll get it up.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Genesis 27, Genesis chapter 27, verses 1 through 29. And it came to pass that when Yishka was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his oldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here I am. And he said, behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now, therefore, take, I pray you, unto your weapon, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me some savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. And Rivkah heard when Yishka spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. And Rivkah spoke unto Yaakov her son, saying, Behold, I heard your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless you before Yahuwah before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command you. Go now to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats. Then I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat, and that he may bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah, his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. My father purchase will fill me, and I shall see to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And when he went, he brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rivkah took goodly remnant of his eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Yaakov's younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hand, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared unto the hand of her son Yaakov. He came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? And Yaakov said unto his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done according as you bade me. Arise, I pray you. Sit and eat of my venison, that your soul may be blessed, that your soul may bless me. And Yiscah said unto his son, How is it that you found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahuwah Elohiah brought it to me. And Yiscah said unto Yaakov, Come near, I pray you, that I might feel you, my son, whether you be my very son Esau or not. And Yaakov went near unto Yiscah, his father. He felt him and said, The voice is Yaakov's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned them not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, Are you my very son, Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless you. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he did drink. And his father Yiscah said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near, and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of the remnant, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahuwah has blessed. Therefore, Elohim gives you of the dew of the heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and the plenty grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be prevalent, your brethren, and let your mother's son bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. That was verse 1 through 29.
Thank you, Ak. As we can see there, probably one of the greatest capers of all time, probably only second to Hasatan stealing the keys to the earth by deceiving Adam and Eve. And thankfully, Yaakov received a blessing, and even though Yashar'el has had to struggle up to this point in human history, the Most High is turning it around, thankfully. Now, let's get context on this situation that happened in 27, 1 through 29, through an extra biblical text, as some might call it, the Book of Jubilees. I'll go ahead and get it. Chapter 2, verse 21 through 22. All right, here we go. Jubilees, chapter 2, 21 through 22. And I have chosen the seed of Yaakov from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Shabbat, that they may guard the Shabbat thereon from all work. And thus he created therein a sign, an ordinance, with which they should guard the Shabbat with us. And on the seventh day to eat and to drink, and to bless him who has created all things, as he has blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, that they should guard the Shabbat together with us. There you go. So, as we can see here, the Most High said, Yaakov was really supposed to be the firstborn. So that rumbling that Rebecca experienced in her womb, and the jockeying for position to who would come out her womb first, that was something that was instigated clearly by Esau. And so when he won that position on the day of their birth, then it, in a technical sense, ordained him to receive the blessing of which was corrected in 27 that Yaakov received. So now we understand why that the Most High would allow such a deception to happen in the first place. Because that is part of a question, or this answers a question I have received personally from Christians or other non-believers who like, well, why would the Most High allow one brother to steal from another? And it turns out, as we read Jubilees, that supposed theft was a correction of what the Most High had ordained in the first place. So there you go.
I like that. I was looking at, when you go back to Genesis 25 and 27, it was talking about basically the propensity of work, right? And it said that when the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, right? And it said Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, right? So this kind of
upright and separate. That makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like a precursor to Exodus, and also to the Feast of Tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? So that looked like a precursor to me, starting with Israel. Literally started dwelling in tents, right? And then 27, Genesis 27 and 29. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Curse thee everyone that curses thee, and blessed be he that blesses thee, right? So if you go back to Genesis 12 and 3, or you start at 12 and 1 down to 3, you'll see where Yah is actually speaking to Abram prior to him being Abraham, and he's giving him this lesson. So it says, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will show you and make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. So this original blessing literally came from the Most High, passed down through Abraham all the way down to Yaakov.
That is a great what's the term? Conjoining of the scriptures, like even taking it back, that it would be able to be even explained in that manner there. That shows that the blessing ultimately didn't come from, as Aki stated, that it didn't come from Abraham himself, it came from the Most High. And so the Most High had to put events in motion to correct what he had ordained. He let Esau win for a little bit, but he had to put it back in the right order to ultimately fulfill his ultimate will in this place, in this room. So there you go. So I like that breakdown that Aki Shafir put forth, that it just, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, how you can, reason out the matter and understand the thought process of Yahuwah. Because his ways aren't our ways. Like, if you really think about it, if Yahuwah wanted to, he probably could have just made it to where in some way in the womb, Jacob could have just came out first. But he decided to let things play out and then issue forth an interesting an interesting situation. Let us a situation play out once they were out of the womb that would correct and realign with his will. So,
and I think it's interesting, bro, that so if you follow me on this, right? So Yaakov, pretended to be his brother, right, for the blessing. And now Esau is now pretending to be pretending to be us, right?
Yeah.
So in a strange turn of events, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just thought that was kind of almost, it's, in their eyes, I can see that as being poetic justice. But as to the point of Jubilee, they were struggling to begin with, and you can see the might of Esau within the womb, because he was able to overtake Yaakov in the womb to come out first. So him being a mighty hunter makes sense.
Yeah, it makes he is the brute, very brutish. Let's move on to the next question. Who did Yahusha ultimately come to redeem? I think we all kind of know just from what we read, but if anybody want to blurt it out, go ahead.
Yashar'el.
Correct. Who wants to get Matthew 10, 1 through 7, and then someone else can get Matthew 15, 20 through 28, and then we'll tackle John 3:16.
I'll get Matthew 10, 1 through 7.
All right, go right ahead.
All right, I'll pull it up right now. Just give me one moment. Sorry, I was writing everything down.
If you want, I can email you the lesson too, or whatever at the end, if you want it.
Yes, please. Okay, Matthew 10, 1 through 7. And when he called, I'm reading out of the Sefer.
That's fine. Go ready.
When he called unto him his 12 disciples, the Talmudim, He gave them power against unclean Ruach, excuse me, to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now, the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Shimeon, who is called Kephar, and Andri, his brother Yaakov, the son of Zavdi, and Yachanan, his brother. Philip and Bartholomew, Bartholomew, and Matthew. Say again?
Netanyahu. Or Matt.
Or Matt, the publican. Yaakov, the son of Kefla, and Levo, whose surnames was Tadadus, Tadai. Simeon on the Canaanite and Jehuda Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the other nations, and into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Yashar'el. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Thank you, by the way, to help me decipher. My English not really good.
Yeah, I get it. I was the same way, man. Like this, like the separate definitely elevates your reading level because you're like, whoa, we said this. Like this is what our ancestors. This is how they were talking back in the day. It's like, dang, man. It's like no wonder we built everything. Like we made basic names like 8-syllable, 8-syllable competitions. Sometimes. Let's see. But yeah, there you go. So as per, I can't remember, like, if anybody got a King James? Is this red letter? Is this directly from the words of Mashiach? Or if
Yes,
not,
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it goes from all the way down from 5 to 7 is red letter.
Okay, cool. So there you go. And the first little portion of script that we read for this portion of who Yahusha ultimately died for is Yashar'el, straight from his mouth. We're not making it up. Who wants to get 15, 20 through 28 of Matthew?
I can get it.
Go right ahead. Nice to hear you, Cody.
Okay. It says, And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coasts and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Adonai, son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his Talmudim came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cries after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Yashar'el. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Adonai, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And she said, Truth, Adonai, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the Adonim's table. Then Yeshua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is your faith. Be it unto you even as you will. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour.
There you go. So even Mashiach himself, who had an interaction with someone of another nation, did not initially bend over backwards to help her. but because she demonstrated faith in him, he ultimately gave her what she sought. And that is going to be an example of right there how someone of another nation can obtain salvation. So, we've pretty much, even before we finish the lesson, we pretty much crushed that, the doctrine that's, out and about saying that only salvation is for Yashar'el. But there's an order to things. She accepted what her natural born status was in terms of the position to the throne of heaven, Mashiach. She understood that, okay, I'm not natural born Yashar'el. That's not running through my veins. But my faith in their Messiah is so strong that I'm willing to sojourn with them and take on their beliefs. So now, as we're gonna, finish out the lesson, there's more steps, but just that initial, before she even started to learn about the law, statutes, and commandments that come with sojourning with Israel, her immense faith in Yahusha is what got her foot in the door and got her a blessing at the same time. So, and who wants to read John?
To that, bro?
Go right ahead.
All right. So I've heard a lot of people say, well, see, he called this woman a dog, right? So he didn't actually call her a dog, he called her a puppy. It's in reference to a puppy if you look at the Hebrew. And you can look at that by what he's mentioning children. So when children eat, crumbs typically fall from their plate, from the mouth, if you have small children, right? And so the puppy scurry on the floor to eat what's left over that's coming from so that's the context of it, right? And then the bigger picture is, if you know who the Canaanites are, right? So this is speaking to her faith. The Canaanites are literal enemies to Yahshua. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is not a light thing. They have their own ways of to go back to the story of Yaakov and Esau. They were told not to deal with the Canaanites at all, right? Not to marry into their families. And then if you know what the history of the Canaanites and their gods and stuff like this, you'll understand why this is a really big deal, that she has faith in someone another Elohim other than the ones of the Canaanites. So it's a really big deal that I would think people kind of understand what's going on there. Besides them, God for making fun of her and saying, "Hey, look, you called her a dog." Like it's way more to that. For her to have faith in another God is a really big thing for Canaanites. So I just want people not to gloss over that like it's nothing.
Yeah, see, and you're absolutely correct, Aki, because we do harp on the law, statutes, commandments, but none of that matters if you don't have Mashiach, if you don't have him, because you use the laws, statutes, and commandments to keep you on the straight and narrow. So you are easily identified by the angels that are watching every day. So when that trumpet blows and it's time to, gather his children, you will be counted among that, or we will be counted among that. But yeah, and she didn't have any understanding of any of the script. She probably heard from, word, well, not probably, she did hear from word of mouth before she had, tracked Yahusha down and just to seek him for the sake of her daughter. She had intense faith, because I'm sure before that point she had probably tried praying to whatever gods that they have, Baal and all that, and she realized, and she was probably just like, hey, we just making this worse. She was drooling at the mouth. Now she's crawling on the wall. So I think I better seek a different source. And that desire and faith the Most High rewarded it. You know,
Yeah,
so
you gotta remember they were doing child sacrifice too. The Canaanites were doing child sacrifice, and it would be counterintuitive for them to help her. It looks like Aaliyah said she's not able to. She doesn't think she's able to speak on Zoom, but she has a statement that she
Can
wants
you
to
hear
share.
me?
yes, we can hear
Oh yeah,
you.
okay, we got you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Whew. I was like, what's going on, House of Time? Anyway, so um what I was gonna say is it was in reference to something earlier you guys had said, but um speaking about the order of things and how things work, it's kind of like how they tell you on a plane or when you're drowning or anything like that, right? Because Mashiach and well, Most High through Mashiach is very practical. And that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people don't understand about the order and the Torah, that it's very practical and it's for a reason. So if the law, statutes, and commandments were given to a particular people, for them to be completely away from it or off or out of order themselves, to then bring somebody else in that has no history of it and no lineage tied to it would kind of be detrimental because now you'll be putting that in the hands of someone who, as we see today, is going to mess some things up. And they don't have it like in them. It's something that's like deep within you as an Israelite that allows you to be able to be that light. It's not that other nations can't do that, but it's like he had to make sure that he was taking care of the mission first, for the people who actually needed the the redemption. Not saying that other people don't need salvation, but as far as the redemption of the salvation of the covenant that was broken and to appease the covenant, of course it has to be for, the house of Israel. And it's like on the plane, they tell you put your mask on first, right? When
Yep,
you're when you're in
else.
water, they tell you if somebody's panicking and all that type of stuff, they're like, you make sure you're good and then you save somebody. You can't like y'all can't both be drowning at the same time. And that's really what it would look like if he did not take care of do it in order. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I had a conversation just to share. I had a conversation with somebody in my Uber ride who was thrilled about the fact that I knew that we were Israelites. He wanted to tell me so bad, but I think that he was like kind of beating around the bush initially until I started, talking to him a little bit more about it. But he gave something that was so beautiful, and I said, I'm going to repeat it. He said, some things come from the heavens. Some things can be taught, some things can be learned. But there's something that is special about what he put in us that we don't necessarily have to be taught. It's in our DNA, but we do have to be guided in a sense. So you can have the Ruach just be born with it, just in you, to want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. I think that was Charmin that talked about that before. Like when she was just little, she just loved the Most High. She just did. And it was just in her to do so. But some things it's like, okay, you're just born with it. And then other things you have to be taught. And so I think that that's kind of what we see here as well, is that we see people that were so far removed from something that they were actually born with, but they needed to be brought back in to an understanding that it is so important for us to get it right so that the other nations can get it right as well. And that was all I had to say.
Oh yeah, that's
Can I add
Well,
something to that? Or at least ask a question in regards to that?
go right ahead.
I wanted to, because I remember, I don't know if it was specifically with amongst us or in my other studies, that Yahushua and Yah, they can bless whoever they want to bless. So blessing someone and giving them the covenant, at least during this lesson that I had been in, were two different distinct things. Blessing someone for having faith or doing something that even that might have helped his people, or being obedient even though they weren't part of Yisrael. Blessing them wasn't necessarily a pathway or a key
in that moment to the
Right.
Yes, it was what's it called? A perk, but it's not that. That didn't mean you automatically became, you know,
that you
the,
got the covenant, that was your way to
Yeah.
covenant. It was a blessing.
Being blessed doesn't mean just because you're blessed with something
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you have salvation. We see
Exactly.
plenty of people that are blessed with things, but if salvation is first for the Yahudim, that's who it is. Like that, it comes to Yashar'el first. That's our portion, and then
Yeah.
they will get their portion as well. It doesn't mean that they won't be blessed, but they don't have the blessing, the covenant
Yes,
that
they may
comes
be
with
blessed.
this.
That
Yeah.
there's blessings in coming with that, but not necessarily the covenant in its whole totality as made as an agreement between his people and him. I just wanted to bring that out because I remember us discussing this at some prior to, but I'll yield. I just wanted to ask that.
Can I add something else to that?
go right ahead. Him.
And I think what most people are not bringing into this equation is that aside from the erroneous teaching, that all all of the Old Testament is done away with. And I think that what they don't understand is covenant. They don't understand three words: this covenant, redemption, and salvation. A covenant in the in the Eastern world, a covenant is something that is not broken only by death. And a covenant, when a covenant is broken, something has to be brought back into that covenant. It can be renewed, just like we've been studying. We have a renewed covenant, but the covenant itself cannot be broken only by death. And because majority of people who and I'm gonna say believe in the Most High, they don't understand that word covenant. And that's why the Most High had to redeem his people. And most people don't understand the word redemption. You only redeem something that was yours to begin with.
Boom.
You don't redeem other people's stuff.
Exactly.
You can't take something to the store that was somebody else's.
No, you can't go to the what you call those stores, the pawn shop, and say I want to redeem Amazon stuff over here. You can't. You don't have this. I don't have Amazon's ticket.
Yep, they ask you for a bill of sale. Ask like, oh, where did you get this from? They want
it. Not even just that. They ask you, because I was just thinking, because Mashiach, I believe, talks about stealing the keys to the kingdom, right? Like trying to go in another type of way. And I think that what you're saying, Ima Vicky, is perfect because that's the literal picture that you see of some people. You're trying to come in a different way. And he's like, no. That's not how the order is. That's not what I said. And even if you do have the ticket, let's just say you do have the ticket, you have the truth, right? They're still going to ask you for your ID. And if they don't, those people get in trouble because I've seen a bunch of judge cases where people get sued. So like you can't just come in and just have the ticket. You need to have the ticket and you need to have your ID that matches that ticket. Right. So it can't be like
so redemption. Redemption is just buying back what was yours. And that's the hardest thing to get, especially Christian-minded people to understand, is that the covenant was made with a certain group of people only.
Even if they understand, it's so hard for them to accept it. They don't want to accept it.
And then I'm like, well, if it was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and their seed, and the seed of Jacob is that line of descendants, and the seed of Jacob, he made a covenant with them, and that covenant is everlasting. It's a perpetual covenant, and that word perpetual, nobody pays attention to it. Then, the covenant was broken not by the Most High, it was broken by his people. So what is to come next? Death.
Yep.
Or there has to be something that can be done to restore the covenant. What had to be done was the death of the Messiah.
That's it.
And once the Messiah died, he was able to redeem the Father's people, buy them back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, people say, well, anybody can get salvation. I said, I'm not arguing about that. Salvation just means saved from your enemies. Salvation is not just, it's not, I'm saying it can be eternal salvation, but eternal salvation is something that you obtain because of your belief and your life, and it's obtained through the Messiah, belief in Messiah, and the keeping of the commandments. That's your salvation, is that eternal salvation is your reward.
That exactly.
But
Exactly.
anybody can obtain salvation.
But
And like
Who
you
doesn't
said,
who doesn't want to be saved from
not
death?
everybody who obtains salvation has the covenant.
that's exactly separation.
People will get, they go ballistic because they're thinking you're saying that only people only the bloodline can be saved. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have the covenant. You are the covenant people.
That's it.
So the Messiah came. They said, no, he came to save everybody. No, he didn't come back to redeem everybody. He came back to redeem his father's people. And I said, why would the father send his son to redeem people that he never made a covenant with?
It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make
Would not
sense.
make sense.
It wouldn't make sense. And not only would it not make sense, it's the point that, like you said, there's a difference. Nobody's telling anybody that because you're not an Israelite, you burning in hell. There's no way that you're
But
gonna
that's how a lot of people take
live.
it.
But that is exactly how they take it.
Because they are not taught in what covenant means and what redemption means. Covenant and redemption only covers the Israelites. That covenant and redemption. Now, covenant, redemption, and salvation covers everybody. I mean not, but salvation covers everybody. So all they have to do is what? Cling to Israel.
And
they
this
can
the
have salvation.
that's the order we are going through. So yeah, keep
keep
going.
the commandments and cling to Israel, and they can obtain salvation. But
And there's a
the
practical way.
covenant, it's just hard for people to grasp that. And I think I'm not going to say I think, I know it's because of the teachings of Christianity. Now everybody's a covenant person. No. Because if you're a covenant person, then you should have been caught up in slavery somewhere.
Yep. Somewhere.
You should have been somewhere down the line. You should have been there should have been some mistreatment and persecution of you and your people somewhere down the line. And that's and I tell people that all the time, and even I've told this to some of my preacher friends. I said, now why in the world would the Most High, why would he make a covenant with a certain group of people, give them some rules and instructions to live by, knowing they couldn't keep them, and then say, I'm gonna kill you if you don't? Now, does that make sense?
Yeah, you might
And
as well
then,
not have created them in the first place.
yeah, and then when they don't keep it, and then say, okay, well, I'm just gonna, everybody gonna be my people then. That does not make sense when you think about all that has transpired in the scriptures, and how it's the Old Testament clearly shows what happened when Israel was obedient, they prospered. When they weren't obedient, they went into captivity or they were persecuted. That's a covenant thing there. It wasn't because it wasn't because they couldn't keep it, because they did not. And it's so easy. See, it's so easy to believe that, because it's an easy way of saying of people thinking that they have, like Aaliyah was saying, a way into the kingdom. But it's not that easy. You're gonna have to they're gonna have to keep everything that they despise in the Old Testament in order to make it into the kingdom. And that's the thing that they don't want to do, because it says in was it Exodus or whatever, it says there's one law both for the
Yeah, we're gonna cover that.
the
That's
natural
on the
born
next slide.
Israelite and the stranger.
Yeah, that's on the next slide.
I think that's and I just say it real quick. I think there's a real practical way of understanding it. In my mind, it's equivalent to having a father and mother being in the household, right? You have your children. You have rules of your household, but are guests allowed to come to your house and visit? Yes. But when they come to your house, they have to abide by what? The rules of that household. The rules of that household. So if the rules are broken, and you allow these rules to be broken in your household, and you bring these guests in, you're going to get chastised, because you know the rules of this household, right? So, but at the same time, when it's time to, if you have this guest here and it's time to feed your children, you're not going to let these other children sit on the sideline while your children at the table eating. No, they're going to get some food, but you're going to serve your children first, right? And then you're going to serve the guests of the house. You're going to serve the people in your household first, and then serve them, right? So I think to me, it's very simple. You don't go to somebody else's house and say, "Oh, well, I'm in charge now." That doesn't work like that. Like, nowhere in the world does it work like that. So you're just in charge of their household, and you make and change the rules as you see fit. Come to visit someone else's house, and that's essentially what it is. There's visitors within this household, but the visitors are saying, "Hey, I sold the keys." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And they just come up in your house until they get ready.
Exactly. Hey, it's kind of like both our house.
Like no, like like no, that's not how that works.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, you can't. Another person used to say it was like a street light thing, like when we had to be in before the street lights. And if your parents tell you to be in before the street lights, that's the commandment that your parents gave to you. But if your friend say, you know what, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but it's like, hey, you know what, that looks like it's a good rule to keep. I'm gonna go ahead and be in before the street lights. And can I come in, and you might even allow your friends to come on in the house. You get what I'm saying? But it's only because they're attached to you that friend can even come in. and be safe. And then the father, the parents will be like, yeah, we'll take care of you, we'll feed you the whole nine. Y'all know how it go.
Yep.
Y'all know how loving of a people we are.
Yep. All right. Now,
But at the same time, that father should say, "Hey, your friend look like a thief. No, he can't come in my house."
yeah,
Don't
exactly.
That's what Christ does do now. Be aware.
All had like a mess with Billy over here or Jaquez or whoever. Like, they or it's funny, like, right? I've been told by like my grandparents and maybe even my parents, this little girl is fast. Don't be hanging out. Like, I'm like, fast. Like, I could beat her. It's like, what are you talking about, fast? But as you get older, oh, that's you talking about fast. Okay, yeah, I got you, bro. Or this one's over here is a knucklehead. That's my dad's favorite term for somebody that don't act right. It's a knucklehead. Like, don't be hanging out with the knucklehead. They're gonna get you into trouble, and then I'm gonna have to get on you. But let's go ahead and finish up this slide with John 3:16. We're gonna break this down, even though shoot, y'all pretty much broke it down before we even got to the script. But let's go ahead and I guess I go ahead and just read out these three scripts so we can get on to the next slide. So John 3:16, the one that all the strangers and Gentiles like to use to try and say that they're included in the covenant, which we just covered. They're not, but they can obtain salvation. But here we go. For Elohim so loved the world, this is in the Sefer, that he gave his Yaqid, that so whoever believes in him, which we just read in chapter 15 of Matthew, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Yaqid into the world to condemn the world, but the world through him might be saved. He that believes on him is not condemned, but he that believes not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the Yaqid of Elohim. All right, so now let's get the context of world. It is not talking about the entire world. It is talking about the world of Yashar'el. Just like how, you hear like, people on the internet who are like, oh, if, Russia or somebody sends an EMP blast and knocks out the power grid, in multiple Western countries, that's the end of the first world. That is an example of a world. You can have multiple worlds on the plane or planet of Earth. But if the power gets knocked out here in Texas because of a so-called, war or battle or something, that doesn't affect people who are living in the rules of Madagascar and Africa or in the Andes of Chile in South America, because that's not their world. That is what the Western world would term as third world, but probably is the first world because they're still connected, with the earth and the land, and they respect it, unlike here in the so-called first world. So that is an example of the world that is what the Most High is talking about, what Yahushua himself, he died for the world of Israel to redeem it. Ta-da. And also, if you look up in some translations or older translations or other definitions, world can mean also government. So at that time when Yahushua had come, we were still a people. We knew who we were. We was acting honorary and didn't necessarily all of us didn't want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and what the northern and southern kingdom had split by this time. But we still knew who we were as a people, and we did have our own, governing laws amongst ourselves, even though we were at the time vassals to the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, and then, our world didn't officially kind of end in a sense until the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, because, that's when we officially lost the ability to govern ourselves. And we had to, mix in with the heathen permanently for a time.
Well, that word in the New Testament, John 3:16, the Greek is cosmos, but it has a lot of different meanings, and that's when context comes into play, the context in which the word is used.
Yes.
And if I'm talking to my family and we have one car between the whole family. Everybody have to use that one car. And I tell them, I think it's about time that we went somewhere and got the oil change in the car. That's our car. And everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say the car, because it's our car. So the first definition, I think, is the one that should go with that context. It said an apt and harmonious arrangement or constitution, order, or government.
There you go. That's what I was trying to find it
Yeah.
when I was in this lesson, and ChatGPT was giving me the
And
runaround.
so
Looked it up. I was like, I know it means government. I just couldn't find. Where'd you find that at, Cody?
it's in the Blue Letter Bible reference.
Okay.
And because when John is talking to the Israelites who are there, they know what he's talking about when he says that. It's something that they all share.
Yeah.
Now, there are many constitutions and many orders and many governments. So why didn't it say worlds?
Yeah.
It just said one world. So that means that particular arrangement or order or government was the one that was shared between what? The Messiah and his people.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they know exactly what they're talking about. So because what people don't realize is that many of our people at that time were not following the covenant, but they knew they had one. They knew it. It's not that they didn't know that they had a covenant. Many of them knew that they had a covenant with the Most High and that they had become estranged from him. And see, that's something that people don't really realize, that a lot of these people that in the New Testament that the Messiah was going to, that the apostles were talking to, that Shaul was talking to, they knew they were Israelites. They knew they had become estranged from the Most High because they became estranged from the Most High back in the book of Hosea. That's Israel, the northern kingdom. They knew who their brethren were, the southern kingdom. So it's not like the people that they were talking to in these places, a lot of these people were the Israelites who had been scattered in the northern kingdom too.
Yep.
So they knew exactly when he said covenant world, they knew exactly what John was talking about when he said that. Because I think it's somewhere where it says some of them said that they live without hope. But now, and I'm just paraphrasing, now hope has returned through the Messiah. They knew exactly what he was talking about. So, and these are things that because of the Roman Catholic Church they just kind of didn't, well, they didn't teach these things because I don't think they really understood. How could they understand the covenant things? They didn't, because they were never under the covenant. So they switched it to them and their beliefs, and this covenant thing with all of these, the Torah with all these instructions, we're not down
We
with
don't really
that
know
because
about
they
that.
never were.
Yeah, so we don't really know about that, the whole Torah thing.
Mhm.
So we gonna leave that out.
Yeah, they didn't know anything about covenant. So I just thought that was very interesting. That I've always, when I was in Christian, even as a child, you know, and that's why sometimes I say, like, who's that? Aaliyah was talking about how he puts things in us. Even as a child, I questioned it in my mind. I kind of questioned that hardly didn't set. It sounded good, but sometimes it just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
So because I used to ask, so he died for all these people doing all these wicked things to us. That's what I used to think. He died for that little boy calling me a nigger across the room. You know, I used to think of things like that when I was a child. And I said, well, but I was okay with it. I said, well, if he did, he did. But to me, it just didn't sit right, you know, that he died for some of these people. And I see the people as a child growing up, the things that transpired during the civil rights movement. I said, he died for those people?
Yeah, it seems so unfair. Like when you look
Yeah.
at it, and again, you know that the Most High, without understanding what we understand today, I really truly believe that the Most High brought back the understanding of Torah and salvation through Mashiach to us in this hour, because if he hadn't have done that, some of us would have definitely lost hope at this point,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like to imagine, and I think other people can't see that. It almost brings tears to your eyes, because as a child you watch all this injustice, and it just gets worse and worse, and it's supposed to get better, and they tell us like, oh, it's gotten better. Look, you guys can eat in whatever restaurant you want to eat in. You can ride in the front of the bus. You can do, like, they tell us like all this stuff, like we progress so far in this world. It's not like how it used to be, and blah blah blah. They tell us that stuff, but in our hearts we're like, we see that there's no real change. We see that there's like a smoke screen. We're not home. We're
That's
the
like,
only people in the whole on the whole planet that can't go home
Yeah.
freely, whereas in other
right.
people can return back to their home, and
Mm-hmm.
they can start, rebuilding their lives as the Israelites did for centuries. They went right back home. They were able to
Mm-hmm.
go back home, but this time the Most High said, I'm not going to make it. It's going to be me that has to do it,
Yeah.
because I've allowed you guys to go back home many times, and you've messed this up so many times that at this point it has to be me, and then it has to be final. So this will
Mm-hmm.
at least be the final time that
Final time.
we have to go through this. Or but again, it's like the people want the blessings, but they don't want the curses.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that goes with everything in this society. They want our lips, they want our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
they want our men, they want our women, they want everything, things that
Our
they have not
music,
worked
our this
for.
and our
Or
that.
yeah, they want to use our music, they want to use everything. And it's like they don't want all the bad things that come with something. We walk around with a skin color that's weaponized, and even
Mm-hmm.
those that have lighter skin, you are still a
Yeah.
Negro in the eyes of
You'll
this
get
world. I don't care what you might think. They're always going to show you who you are. They're always going to remind you who you are. So as a child, I had the same question. I just didn't know how to ask it. But growing up AME, my question was, because they're all about African pride and AME.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I had a question, like I was like, well, if like if he loves us and everything, I was like, well, then why do people treat us so bad? Like, why did he make us like this color? Why do they treat us so bad? And I specifically remember the answer being that the reason why we suffer the way we suffer is because we were cursed, because of Ham. I will never forget that. Never
Yes.
forget that as a child. So I grew up thinking my skin color was cursed.
Mhm.
That's
So
bad.
I held that my whole life, like we deserve this because blah blah blah. Which to a degree we did deserve to be go
That
into captivity. However, they took it to a whole nother level, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the color of our skin.
Mhm.
Not the darkness or lightness of it. That's a whole different thing. But as a child, imagine that. So the Most High had to, some of us, I really believe he had to pluck us out because we were in a position where it's like we would lose hope at a certain point of being like, this is never gonna change. What's the point? Let me start bleaching my skin. Let me start changing my nose. Let me color my eye, get my eyes changed to a different color. Let me, redo my body so it doesn't look like what my ancestors looked like. It just puts along a perpetual hate and it just sucks. So I'm so glad the Most High woke us up.
And and for me it wasn't so much that I didn't like myself. I didn't like them. I got to the point where I said, I don't understand why the Most High seem to be blessing these folks all the time. And look at all the mean stuff they do. You know, that was my thinking as a child. And but uh the Most High gave me grace to not hate people, but I just didn't like being around them too much and didn't like, having to deal with them not a whole lot because one thing as a child is very perceptive. It's like I hear what you say, but I'm seeing what you do. And that's how children are. You can tell children all day long, you know, that you care about them, but when they see that you're making a difference they see what you do. And it never really sits right. And so and then you get to a point where you start to reject everything because one thing about the mind always seeks to correct itself. And if you say something and what you say and what you do is not lining up in a child's mind, something has to be corrected or he has to correct something in his mind. So it's gonna it's gonna come to a point where he's gonna like repress those feelings or he's where uh he becomes fully brainwashed or he's gonna reject everything.
yeah, it can induce, like, if you don't get the clarity of the Ruach Hakodesh and the understanding of who you are and why things happen, it can induce psychosis.
Yes.
Psychosis.
And
Yeah,
if the mind doesn't correct this, if the mind there's no avenue for the mind correct itself. Because the mind is constantly looking for just the Most High he is an Elohim of order. That's where our mind works. It has to be the order has to everything has to fall in place like you say it does. If it doesn't, there are some people who gonna question that for the rest of their lives or until they decide, you know what, I'm through with everything. So, and we see people like that. They just wash their hands of everything. So I don't believe in anything. Because they're just saying it's not that those people are just are wicked. It's just that they have tried to make a sense out of a world that's full of lies and stuff just does not add up,
yeah.
you know? So they just kind of just reject everything. And that's what the Satan's world is. It's a world of lies. And a lot of times these people are smart enough to know something is wrong.
Just don't know where to go to get the answer.
They don't know how to figure it out. The brain is trying to figure out, well, what something's out of sync here, something wrong. I don't know what it is, you know. So and that comes from the Most High. And it's only by the grace of the Most High that He holds us together, you know, and because it wasn't not anything but the grace of the Most High that coming out of slavery, that our people were not out of this world crazy, because He held them together. His Spirit held them together, even though they weren't following when we say Torah or everything, but He still held them together. And look what our people did, because He knew He's always faithful. He's faithful to His people. He said, he still make a way, even though we may be out of order and everything. He still made a way for us to survive to this day. And now this is the age of truth rising. So now some of us are beginning to see the truth and understand some things, and how things have been working all this time, since the beginning of time.
Yeah, and we can start to bring back those who have, like you said, have washed them, washed their hands of trying to make sense of so-called. So then we can start putting the pieces back together for Yashar'el. Yeah. Let's go on.
I got a verse for y'all. If you go to, and you don't have to read it off, but to get some understanding, from what I see, if you all go to Isaiah 45:15 through 25,
All right,
get
go ahead.
clarity on the word. I'll read it real quick. Verily thou art God, in KJV. Thou hidest thyself, O God of Israel, the Savior. They shall be ashamed and also confound all of them. They shall go to confusion together that are makers of idols. But Israel shall be saved in Yahuwah with an everlasting salvation. You shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. For thus saith Yahuwah that created the heavens, Elohim himself that formed the earth and made it. He has established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in the dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahuwah, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. They have no knowledge, that set up the wood of their graven image and pray unto a God that cannot save. Tell ye and bring them near, yea, let them take counsel together, who have declared this from ancient times, who have told it from that time. Have not I, Yahuwah, and there is no Allure else beside me, a just Allure and Savior. There is none beside me. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am Allure, and there is none else. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out of my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return. That unto me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall swear. Surely shall one say, in Yahuwah have I righteousness and strength. Even to him shall men come, and all that are incensed against him shall be ashamed. In Yahuwah shall all the seed of Israel be justified, and shall glory. So I'm looking at that as fitting into that John 3:16.
There you go. That was because like your mic is a little muffled, so that was Isaiah 45:15 through what 25, right?
15 through 25.
Got it. So there you go for anybody listening to this and wants to read that for themselves. It was Isaiah 45:15 through 25, which just confirms of what we've been speaking on. All right. Let's go to a measure of wisdom. It's like, how many books in total are a part of the Bible? This is a question that some people may know, and a lot of people probably don't. And we're gonna, read the answer next. Anybody have an idea? Just want to throw out a number?
83.
What did you say? 83?
88.
83. 88. 88. 88 books.
Let's go read it. And if you have a Sefer, the book of 4th Esdras, chapter 14, 38 through 48. Or if you have an Apocrypha, it'll be 2nd Esdras, chapter 14, 38 through 48.
What's that again? 2nd Esdras what?
If you got an Apocrypha,
Uh-huh.
okay, so you would go to chapter 14 and it started at verse 38. And if you have a Sefer, you go to 4th Ezra, chapter 14, start at 38. 4th Ezra, chapter 14, start at 38. Let me get to it. 4th Ezra. There we go.
You said 4th Ezra?
Yes, 4th Ezra and Sefer. All right. Once everybody's there, I'll go ahead and read out these 10 verses. Everybody's pretty much there. All right. Well, here we go. And so this is this is an extra biblical text in a sense if you're in the Sefer, or I guess also, Apocrypha. But this is going to clarify what we're going to go through after this question to help those who are like 66 or 80 books only. Because there's more than just what our enemies have published and what's been given to us in public. Yeah, as mainstream sources of scripture.
I've
There's
read this before too.
yeah, and so what we're going into a little bit here is a little bit of the esoteric. This is esoteric knowledge that was given to Yashar'el only. In a sense, that's why we can break this down and understand that the wisdom of our Elohim is vast and wide. And there's a passage I think in Daniel that says there was a certain time that certain books should be shut up and not revealed until the latter days. Well, these are those latter days because one, our punishment, as we read in Genesis 15, is over. Our 400 years is up, 1619, 2019. So this is a time when those books that were kept from us or we didn't know were ours are now being restored back to us for us to break down and disseminate to the other nations. So here we go, 38 through 48 and 4th Ezra's chapter 14 of the Sefer. And the next day, this is Ezra himself saying this. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Ezra, open your mouth and drink that I give you to drink. So he's even getting a little buzz. The Most High tells him, get a little buzz. Then I opened my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as it were with water, but the color of it was like fire. And I took it and drank. And when I had drunk of it, my heart uttered understanding and wisdom grew in my breast. For my Ruach strengthened my memory. But this also goes with another verse that says the Ruach HaKodesh will bring all things back into remembrance. So for my Ruach strengthened my memory, and my mouth was open and shut no more. And El Elyon gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that were told, which they knew not. And they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day, and at the night they ate bread. Ask for me. I spoke in the day, and I held not my tongue by night. In 40 days they wrote 92 Sepharim. And it came to pass, when the 40 days were filled, that El Elyon spoke, saying, the first that you have written, published openly. So the books that we commonly grew up with, like the 66 canon, and I would say even the 80, or how many books is in the Sefer? Is it 80 or 88? I didn't really take the time to count. The 80 or so books that's in the Sefer, those are what you would call the open scriptures. Because, like, what, even in, it was like, what, back in, I forget what year, when they actually found the Dead Sea Scrolls that the Apocrypha and stuff come from, and they started publishing it. So in the 40 days, they wrote 92 Sepharim, and it came to pass, when the 40 days were fulfilled, that El Elyon spoke, saying, the first that you have written, publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it. But keep in the 70 last, that you may deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so. So there you go. So that clarifies why we are going to these extra texts of Yashar'el. And I'll say this, there's in the modern day, you can find more of our texts that have, of course, been twisted, because that's what the heathen does. You can find some of that in the Book of Mormon. Now, I would say, before any Yashar'alim that are, seeking out these extra texts, make sure you have strong root in Torah, and I would say the Old Testament in general, because that understanding of the Old Testament, specifically Torah, will help you discern what books are ours and what aren't when you start reading these other books that the heathen have really written based off of our scripture. They stole our knowledge and tried to twist it to their ends. So there's a book called the Book of Jacob in the Mormon Bible. That's one location you can look. Another location is something called the Nag Hammadi, that gives a summary of the life of Mashiach, what he did before he started his ministry, when he turned 30, in Jerusalem, before he started traveling with the Talmudim, the disciples, and up until the point, So there are multiple sources, but I say this first. This is esoteric stuff, and if you do not have the Ruach HaKodesh to help you discern this stuff, it will make you, it can lead you astray, because you are relying upon your own understanding. So there's the disclaimer, there's the warning that what we're getting into right here is a little bit of the esoteric of Yashar'el. So, but if you are a young believer, stick to Torah right now, and pray if you would like more in-depth knowledge, because what we're starting to go into is Bible prophecy being fulfilled here in these latter days. And like I said, if you don't have that anchor of Torah and belief in Mashiach, you can go astray, because we've all seen YouTube channels that thought they had it, and now there's some of them looking like fools, because they didn't wait upon the Most High and the Ruach to give them understanding. So here we go. Who is wisdom, and what is their role? Who wants to get James 3:17?
I'll read.
Go right ahead, sis.
So I'm going to read from the Sefer today, and that's James 3:17, and it says, but the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy.
There you go. Now, who does that sound like from Proverbs 31? There you go. So, and then let's go on to Sirach, 24, 1 through 8. Or that's Ecclesiastes for those that are using Apocrypha. Sirach slash Ecclesiasticus, not Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiasticus is what can be found in the Apocrypha and Sefer. So Sirach 24, 1 through 8.
I'll read it.
Go right ahead.
All right, coming out of the Sefer. Wisdom shall praise herself and shall glory in the midst of her people. In the assembly of El Elyon shall she open her mouth and triumph before his power. I came out of the mouth of El Elyon and covered the earth as a cloud. I dwelt in high places, and my throne is in a cloudy pillar. I alone compassed the circuit of heaven and walked in the bottom of the deep, in the waves of the sea, and in all the earth, and in every people and nation. I got a possession. With all these I sought rest, and in whose inheritance shall I abide? So the Creator of all things gave me a commandment, and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, let your dwelling be in Yaakov, and your inheritance in Yashar'el. He created me from the beginning before the world, and I shall never fail. In the holy tabernacle. Okay, my bad.
But yeah, that 9 is good too.
Oh, shoot, my bad.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I debated on whether adding it or not, so the Most High led you to it. So go ahead. So there you go. So now we see that not only that is, the Ruach HaKodesh is a woman, that she dwells with who? Yashar'el. And so
We're talking about wisdom or the Ruach?
The Ruach.
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
This is compassion.
Wisdom is a female gender.
And then let's move on to so is it Psalms 111 and 10?
I got it.
All right, go right ahead.
The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endures forever.
There you go. So again, that you have to have wisdom to be able to carry out the commandments. You have to understand the importance of that. Now we're going to go to one of the more esoteric texts of Yashar'el to further expand upon and how wisdom is a woman and how significant she is in terms of all creation. Let's see, there we go. Can y'all see that?
No.
Okay, so I need to do the share thing. Okay. There we go. All right, y'all can see it now, right?
Yes.
All right, so now we're in the Odes of Solomon. So this is what Uncle Solomon wrote in regards to wisdom, how she's seen, and how the Most High uses her. So this is Odes of Solomon chapter 19. The Odes of Solomon chapter 19. The what is it? The link right here, if you want to read it for yourself. You can I think you can also buy this on Amazon for now. They starting to crack down on stuff like that. But there's the link if you want to read this yourself. And also I'll be, this is giving this to the rest of the assembly so they can, go and, read the lesson on your own in private as well. I'm not trying to be nobody's, personal guru or nothing like that. I'm just bringing out this information. I understand it may, seem like a little new, and you might be taken aback. That is fine. I'm not presenting this for people to agree immediately, but this is something that the Ruach HaKodesh led me to at least, inform people of to consider. So here we go. The Odes of Solomon, chapter 19. A cup of milk was offered to me, and I drank it in the sweetness of the delight of the Lord. The Son is the cup, and he who was milked is the Father, and he, the Holy Spirit, milked him, because his breasts were full, and it was necessary for him that his milk should be sufficiently released. And the Holy Spirit opened his bosom and mingled the milk from the two breasts and of the Father, and gave the mixture to the world without their knowing. And they who receive in its fullness are the ones on the right hand. The Spirit opened the womb of the Virgin, and she received conception and brought forth, and the Virgin became a mother with many mercies. 7. And she travailed and brought forth a son without incurring pain. And because she was not sufficiently prepared, and she had not sought a midwife, for he brought her to bear, she brought forth as if she were a man of her own will. And she brought him forth openly, and acquainted him with great dignity, and loved him in his swaddling clothes, and guarded him kindly, and showed him in majesty. Hallelujah. So this is in a sense how in the spirit realm, or in the realm of heaven, how Mashiach comes to be. I know this may seem out there, but what this describes is from King Solomon. I make this up. I would have never even known to even look here if it weren't for the Ruach. So this explains how Mashiach, essentially, I guess, in a sense, was born in heaven before he actually came down in the spirit through Mary, on earth. So this explains that the importance that the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, has now in just her role in all of existence and creation. Now, this is not to say, this is not a substitution for Mary worship. This is what the Catholic Church and the Greeks and the Romans, this is what they bastardize. This is just an acknowledgement, which is an important step, because this acknowledgement, it helps to shatter the confusion of which the Trinity is puts forth. The Trinity in Christianity puts forth that it's three dudes, which is not, because the Most High even holds in esteem. He holds in esteem a family structure even in the heavenly realm, and then we know that he holds a heterosexual family structure in the physical realm. So, as they say, what's the prayer? As in heaven, so it be on earth. So this is kind of like that template. Everything that is in heaven is done on earth. So you can see how the family structure that was set up between him, his son, and essentially his wife, the Ruach HaKodesh, is now forwarded into like the earthly realm of having a structure of a man and a woman and the Yaqui, the children. So, and that's all I'm doing is bringing this to light, because this can help alleviate the confusion that the Trinity often causes when you're trying to talk to someone who is hung up on such a matter because they don't get how, you know, one person can be three people. And this kind of clarifies that. Like, yes, the Ruach and the Son are Yahushua's creations, but he also has specific roles for them to play in the heavenlies in dealing with him and dealing with us. So I get it. It might be a little bit of out there, and I humbly ask that you would take this lesson. That's why I posted it in our chat and study it out for yourself. Like I said, this is not trying to suggest or induce Mary worship or anything like that. Like I said, the Mary worship, it was actually a bastardization of this esoteric knowledge that they knew to once again get them to worship, their gods and stuff like that. So as we move
I have a
on,
question.
go right ahead.
Please. So how do we go from wisdom, right? We read the scriptures before that was clearly say wisdom and she and her to the Ruach HaKodesh. How do we go from the wisdom to the Ruach HaKodesh so we were talking about wisdom or Ruach HaKodesh, which is not the same thing, or you think it's the same thing?
My personal study, it's they are one and the same. The Ruach HaKodesh is wisdom. Now I get it.
But it's two different words, and it's two different words in Hebrew.
Yeah, I think wisdom is a chakma. That's a spirit in and of itself. And then you got Ruach HaKodesh. That's a spirit in and of itself. You got words like spirit of Yahuwah. Ruachs. Yeah, there's all kind of Ruachs. Are you now positing and saying all of those are just one Ruach?
I would say yes. And I get it. If I am wrong, I apologize. But this is my understanding, and if I need to come back and correct it, I will in the future.
Usually a lot of y'all are chatty. So I just want to say silence is what they say. I'm gonna let y'all finish that out. Speak now if ever, hold your peace.
So I just have one question.
Wisdom is has always been referred in scripture as to her.
Yeah.
This is why I'm asking, female. Can you bring out clear scriptures where after the word Ruach HaKodesh, you have she or her? That's what I need, because I'm not gonna go on I believe, I think so. The same way you show scriptures about how wisdom, it says she and her, like the scriptures that we just read in Sirach or in Psalms. I would like the same thing with the word Ruach HaKodesh, because in John we see Ruach HaKodesh and we see he after. So I just need to understand, like.
I would agree as well. I'm sorry, I was making my plate, y'all. Apologize. But anyway, I agree that wisdom in itself, Hakmah, is a female attribute. I think it's very important to understand what an attribute is. It's not necessarily meaning that this has to be a female. It's just meaning having a feminine attribute to it. But I agree that the Ruach HaKodesh is in a male sense. It's a he attribute. But when we speak about wisdom in general, and just saying wisdom, the word wisdom, Chokmah, is actually a female attribute. But the Ruach HaKodesh, which is given, released, that it talks about it. We learned some lessons ago. It talks about it even in the Torah or the Old Testament per se, and then we see it again. It's not like something that's new that we're getting to in the New Testament. It's just the way that it's coming out. But I totally agree that the Ruach HaKodesh is a masculine. It's a he. It's referred to as a he.
Right. It's like
But
a masculine noun. It's a masculine noun
yeah,
or
there you go.
or
Exactly.
feminine noun like that.
Yeah, exactly. A
This is where I
masculine or
agree with you.
there
I
you
agree
go.
with you on that
Yeah,
too.
there
Like
you go.
you have that aspect of and that happens in language, right? Yeah, this is why to a level and a degree, it's like I'm in agreement that like you will have some a gendered type of noun that would express the nurturing aspect. Like you just now brought it up, nurturing that, but we're not ascribing an actual sex to
Yes,
a biological. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. It's really
kind of like
important.
in Genesis. Like in Genesis, when it refers to the earth, the earth is referred to as a mother,
Yeah.
right?
Oh man,
As
yeah.
a
And
female, it says a
right,
she because it's the receiver, and because
right,
the earth is something that you put the seed into and that you put things into, and that is literally the design of a female, right? But it's not
yeah,
saying that we have to call her Mother Nature or
Mhm.
that, but that's where they get those things from because they
yeah,
see that it is a feminine attribute or a feminine noun, or like how Amaziah was saying, like it's something that has that softness or the ability to be the receiver, versus being the one that's giving. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess like that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
But I agree, Amaziah is correct. Like it's a noun, and that's how it was explained to me when I learned the Hebrew language about or when I was learning the Hebrew language was that a lot of times because I know that there's a particular camp that is very very much so pushes that the Ruach HaKodesh is a female, but I don't see it. I see it as the Ruach HaKodesh as in itself, that particular word, those words together as being more of a, it says a he, but not an actual male, like Amaziah was saying.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Mashiach, he said that he's going to leave a comforter, right? Which is the Ruach HaKodesh. But even he said that he referred to him as a he, not a she. We're referring to the comforter. So I'm not seeing in the Ode of Solomon where that constitutes that the Ruach HaKodesh being a female. And I had a question also about this. I haven't really delved into this, but there are certain words in there, like swaddling. That I've never seen the word swaddling outside of maybe the New Testament and spoken in anywhere else in the Old Covenant. So there's certain things that and it kind of sounds a mixture of New Covenant, Old Covenant writers. I don't know if anyone else sees that. Like it seems like it's written after the birth of the Mashiach.
Yeah, I can see that.
Say that
Yeah.
again. I cannot understand. Say that again.
I said it seems like it's written after the birth of Mashiach because there's certain words like where it says swaddling. There's certain words that are being used within the text that you don't really see in the Old Testament.
Which
You know,
word
so
specifically? You were kind of muffled. I'm sorry, brother. Can you
oh
repeat
oh
The
hold on,
word
let me
swaddling.
the word
Swaddling.
swaddling? Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay, okay.
I didn't know if
And
I
sorry.
was
what
too
about
sure or not. That's why I said it. You may be.
what
Yeah.
about the word swaddling?
Oh, my bad. Okay, with my headphones. I gotta take
Okay.
these
There
trash
we
headphones
go.
off.
Man, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you clear as a
No,
whistle now.
no. Okay, so there was what I was saying was I was I'm trying to get a consensus on when this was written because it seems like it was written after the birth of Mashiach because there are certain words that you don't necessarily see in the Old Testament, even though it is translated into English. You don't see
the English word swaddling anywhere in the Old Testament that I've seen or read so far. And if I'm missing it, I can stand corrected, but I don't see words like that. Um, and
When
so
when when was it written? When was the Old of Solomon written?
I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
That's the question you ask.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what you're wondering.
yeah. Because it seems like it's written after birth of Mashiach, so somewhere after the first century A.D. It doesn't seem like it's written in any period in the BC era.
Or
I'm looking that up now.
It says
based on my
100.
research, yeah, it's afterwards.
It says
Based on my
180. Yeah, between
yeah. 70 and some in
125
second
AD.
century. Yeah, second century. And to your point, yeah, that even they even use like Syriac language, Syriac Christianity language, Syriac
Yeah.
Christian language, sorry, which is a whole thing in and of itself.
So you see that's why language is so important. That's why understanding the root of a word and where things come from is so important, because like they have all these words that they add into the scriptures, and we understand them today. But when you think about before, like that's just maybe that's that concept or how they're saying that is not the word that was used. But maybe there is another word for because we know swaddling is just wrapping the baby up like tight.
Right.
So maybe there is another word or somehow else that it is described of wrapping the baby tight, but we would have to like look for that. But I agree, I don't ever remember hearing that word swaddling.
I guess you would have to look at the original text, and we don't know
Yes, right.
if there is an
When it was
original
written.
text.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we always have to be aware of syncretism.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the meshing of the Hebrew writings with other ideologies. And I had never I don't know, it may be, I don't know, but I don't remember. What got me was the word breast as referring to a man. I've heard of bosom, but not breast. Things that come from, your bosom. His, they're talking about that coming from the deep within. So, syncretism has been the rule with those of pagan beliefs, because that's exactly what they did in the third century. Was they syncretized a lot of the Hebrew writings, and they infused their own beliefs in it. So we always have to think of that word syncretism. It could have been a writing of Solomon, because I do believe that there are many other books that our people wrote
that we don't
but
have.
we don't have them.
Yeah.
So those people that do have them or do have access to them can take them and basically, like you write in a paper for college, you can take it. Yeah, you use some of those ideas, but you put your own stuff in it, and you say it's yours. So they just do that in reverse and say, "Oh, this is what Solomon wrote," but it's not what Solomon. That's what you wrote. So we always have to be aware there's always syncretism. There's even syncretism in the modern Bibles that we use. You just have to be able to, especially in the New Testament, to spot those things.
Yeah, because they always adding stuff in there, and then not to mention, like just to go back on that, there was a time that we did this women's study, and we went over the word woman, and I think that's another reason, just kind of tie it back together. I think that's another reason why it's referred to when you see wisdom as a female like noun, or like that's the character that it's kind of walking in, because in the word woman in itself, and you guys can look it up yourselves, when the Most High built the Most High built the woman, he put intuition. You know, they talk about women's intuition all the time. That's not something that the world came up with. That's something that Yah did. It's something that he built inside of the woman to have that intuitive spirit. And if you really think about it, that's what really wisdom is, to be wise and to have an understanding that goes beyond what anybody can necessarily teach you. And so I believe that the Most High like really built that inside of the woman according to what the scripture says in the word itself. And so maybe that's possibly the reason why when we talk about wisdom, we talk about it in a feminine way. That's just another thought that I was having.
Well, you know, all of these things, wisdom was with the Most High from the beginning. So all of these so-called entities that were with the Most High, these are all spirits. And so wisdom was there in the beginning with the Most High, just like the Word was. And the Word became flesh. So the Word was also, you think of the Word as spiritual, because we always refer to the word of the living Elohim, the word of the Most High, as a living word. It's not, yes, it's written down on paper, but once you start reading it and intaking it, then it becomes living, because it brings about a change within you. That's a living word. Wisdom is also living and alive. But because wisdom has the ability to leave you. That's something that is alive, and you know, that's a spiritual term, wisdom. And you know, I kept saying female, but I that's a better term to say. It's a female, or a like a woman in its function. So wisdom, it says fear is the beginning of all wisdom. So we first have to have a fear of the Most High in order for wisdom to come and dwell with us. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense. And also, so in scripture we see that it's it's pretty much a glory to a young man to listen to his mother, because the women are teaching their children, right? So they're imparting wisdom upon their children. So and I believe when using that aspect, for if we're teaching the reader, or teaching the people who are listening, as a more tangible way of understanding, they'll say, okay, this is associated. We understand that this is a spirit, but if this were a person, it would more similarly look like a woman. So for understanding purposes, right? And so this would be more of a masculine understanding. So and I think that's what it's getting at, not necessarily saying that the Ruach HaKodesh is a woman, female spirit, because that's what the Mashiach was filled with when he was born. You know what I'm saying? He was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. So he was born of a woman, then filled with a woman. That doesn't coincide with the scriptures from what I see.
Hey, and that's why I brought it out to be discussed for, you know, uh, everybody to, bring out information that I may have missed or I did miss. And so I mean, it's just something to consider. If, like I said, if I'm wrong, I'll easily make another like on the next lesson I do, I'll come back and apologize.
That's
So
okay, brother. We're all
No.
here to study
I'm not
together,
trying to leave.
man. Like that's the thing. Like we're all here to study together, and nobody has it all the way to together. We're all here to iron sharpen iron, and there may have been times that you wouldn't know that some of us have looked into these things. Maybe we didn't like fully discuss it, but like we know that males have both X and Y chromosomes. So we know that the Most High carries both of that. So even like how the way Shafir explained it, that yeah, like these are things that in like these are parts of the Most High, period. Both of it. Both of them, male and masculine and feminine. There's both in one. And we're not talking about no Baphomet type stuff.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about but I
Yeah,
want to be clear. I want to be clear.
yeah. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
talking about
Explain
that.
yourself.
Yeah, explain. We're not talking about that, but we're saying that as a male, there's both male and female, the X and the Y. So that's why you're seeing these attributes are coming directly from the Most High. I think that was Amaziah or Lydia that put that in the chat, that it's an attribute of the Most High. Absolutely, because it both of those come from. So whether it be a masculine or a feminine attribute, it's coming from the Most High. You know.
And I agree with Iman too, and with the sister saying as far as syncretism, right? So it's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's a matter of they could have very well taken parts of writings of Solomon and newer writings and conjoined them together, right?
Yep.
So that's syncretism. So it's not that a matter of being wrong. It's the whole spitting out the bones aspect of it.
Yeah,
You know what
what you
I'm
just not brought out is what is probably how Old and Solomon came together. I see
saying?
what you did, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I understand what you're saying though, bro.
All right, cool. Well, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for, not beating me up. I'm like I said, I'm still learning. Like I'm not claiming to be nobody's guru, and the fact that we could talk this out, this is probably something that would never be discussed, at least not recorded and eventually posted uh by too many other assemblies. Like I said, like I don't claim to be nobody's guru or the most brew of brews. And like I said, if I'm wrong, I fully accept it and apologize. And I'll, come back later with information that corrects it. And so,
Yeah, like the family said, man, you good, bro. We just
all
we just we just rocking it out. That's all it
right.
is.
That's good because like I had never
Yeah.
even heard of the word syncretism. I didn't even know that was a word before today. So
yeah,
You know how I like to say, hey man, I never use certain things in my vernacular.
I,
yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah,
so
man. I believe there's a verse. Is it Proverbs 5, where it's talking about when you reprove. It says not to reprove someone who it's better to reprove a wise man because they will appreciate it, right? So it's telling you not to reprove or correct someone who doesn't care about this anyway, right? So it's not that you're not wise in your understanding. The fact that you were able to accept it, it stands. That's actually in scripture. What you're going through right now is actually scripture based. You know what I'm saying? So even the so-called wise people can be reproved and if they accept it, that's a sign of wisdom, like Chakma right there. So
And
even
humility. And the
yeah,
spirit of humility, which is on a whole nother lesson. Best
yes sir,
believe that.
yes
And
sir.
that's how I wholeheartedly agree with you just now, said Spirit. That is, you got people that can't even come close to being corrected. Can't even come
Oh,
close. You think
yeah.
that's wise? Huh?
I said,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Being in this seat ain't no joke. So yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
sure.
And
right.
this, I just appreciate all y'all because this is the way I love this because this is the way uh we, the Bible says we're supposed to reason together. And where two or three are gathered in my name, I will be also. So not only are we reasoning together, but I do believe that the Ruach HaKodesh is helping us to work this thing out. And not, like I said, not everybody knows everything, but reasoning together, wanting the truth and being of the same spirit, we can reason these things out with the help of the Ruach HaKodesh.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So well, after that really good discussion, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Are the commandments a key element to receive salvation? And who wants to get Exodus 20
I
and
will. I got it. All right, I'm there.
all right, go right ahead whenever you're ready.
And shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments.
There you go. So that's one instance of the commandments being necessary. Let's go to Deuteronomy 5 and 33. Who wants to get that one? You want to get that one, Texas?
Yeah, I got it. Ye shall walk in. Oh wait, I have to wait for everyone to get there. My bad. All right. I'll start reading now. Ye shall walk in all ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess.
And let's go to you want to go ahead and get, since these are basically a bunch of one-hitter quitters, you just want to get them all, Texas? John
Yeah,
4.
I got it. Let me go to John. There it is. Okay. If ye love me, keep my commandments.
There you go. Plain and simple.
And
And then
then
15 and 10 of John.
all right. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love.
There you go. And that was the word, that was red letter right there, right? That was directly Mashiach. And then also John 14 was Mashiach too, red letter in the King James. So again, the whole person who literally died for all of Yashar'el's sins is stating that if you love him, if you appreciate what he did for Yashar'el, and for any sojourners or strangers or Gentiles that are wanting to cleave, do as the righteous Yashar'alim do. Keep his commandments and come to us, because we are to teach you. Go ahead and finish out 1 John 5 and 3, 2 Texas.
For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
There you go. So that, the stress that people feel from the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, what are the other ones? I don't know, Halloween, stuff like. There's
New Year's, yeah.
There's nothing burdensome. And plus, we all know that. Well, not we all know, but at least those of us who've been in the truth for a little bit know that you don't celebrate the New Year in the dead of winter. That doesn't make sense. But like, if y'all want to get an understanding, for those who haven't seen the lesson, I did the lesson. What's it called? The biblically correct birth date of Mashiach. It helps to explain all of that. So I would suggest just go on this channel of Bayat Padai Breen, go to playlist, and then you see the playlist about feast days, and then select the one about the correct the biblically correct birth date of Mashiach, and you'll get your answers there. And also, like, there's a good one that just came out on one of the most notorious beast day that people don't even realize, Thanksgiving. about how especially if you're just a Christian believer, you definitely shouldn't be celebrating. So, but just go on. What was his name? What's the channel's name? Benaya Israel. Yeah. You can look up how to spell that. It's Ben. I think E, and then Yashar'el, Israel. I can't remember
I
how to
think
spell
it's
I thought you was gonna hit us with that BN. Y'all know the rest.
Benayah. It's Benaya.
Benaya.
Benayah.
Yeah. But now I go to Benaya Israel. Everybody knows how to spell Israel. So Israel, and he gives he just came out with an excellent lesson on why you really, unless you're like a fan of Hannibal Lecter, you really shouldn't be celebrating Thanksgiving. And then, what is greater than sacrifice? I bet nobody knows.
Obedience.
Correct. Do you want to get that for me, Ema?
You know you're gonna ask me to read First Samuel. Okay, it's First Samuel 22, 23.
Yep. 1 Samuel 15, 22 through 23. Yes, ma'am.
15, 22 through 23. Okay. And Shemuel said, hath Yahuwah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of Yahuwah. He has also rejected you from being king.
Ooh. And so we all know what happened to King Saul. He met an unfortunate end, and it wasn't even peaceful. It's actually kind of gruesome. So there you go. That's what is greater than sacrifice is obedience, and we keep obedience to what the law, statutes, and commandments, because that is what that is the standard, as it were. All right. Now, can't have one without the other. This clarifies another key step that a lot of people don't really get. Like we talked about this on the first slide, but this kind of just drives it home. It's just more scripture, where two or more, there is the Most High. Let's see. What is not to be done by those who are not born of Yashar'el? I'll just go ahead. There you
go. So you want me to get that for you?
Go right ahead if you want to.
Sir. So let me pull it up. KJV, Romans 11, 13 through 27. Does anybody else want to read? I just jumped in there. Sorry. All right, 13. For I speak, I'm reading that KJV. For I speak to you, Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. And if by any means I may provoke to emulation them that are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Verse 19, thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of the unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith, be not high-minded, but fear. Verse 21, for if Yah spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Yah on them which fell the severity, but toward thee goodness, and if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For Yah is able to graft them in again. For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, apologies, and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness is part and happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. There come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungoodliness from Jacob. Verse 27, for this is my covenant unto them, where I shall take away their sins.
There you go. So we have gotten clarification that if you are of stranger / Gentile, and you come into this information, this truth, that you're not to boast against those who are the natural branches, because it was ultimately for us, but by your willingness to sojourn with us, you can receive salvation. Not the covenant, but salvation. Because there is going to be a order to things that are made right once Mashiach cracks them skies. Just as our forefathers set us up to where we had to agree with the way things are now, the way that the forefathers of the strangers who ruled unjustly will have to come into alignment with how things will be upon Mashiach's return. But you have no need to fear, because we are bound by Torah itself to rule righteously. So that's one thing, that you as a stranger that is listening to this is going to have to come to the understanding of, is that, yes, you can receive salvation, but you also will have to give some sort of not give, but understand that there will be a recompense placed upon your people for the works of your forefathers, even if you were not aware of it, because it happened to us. So, the Most High is gonna have to balance the scales. And if you're alongside us, we can stand as a testimony for you to ensure that you don't receive the worst of it.
Man, real quick, bro, that right there is well, it sounds like what Paul was listening to at the time was in essence the beginning of supersessionism, right? So he not so humbly put them in their place. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, like from 13 to 27, that's, bruh. Yeah. He said, for I speak to you Gentiles in as much as I'm an apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office. Like, he's like, listen, don't do that.
Yeah. Like,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
don't
saying?
talk noise. Yeah.
He put a cease and desist letter right in Romans 11. But go ahead, bro.
All right. Let's see. Who are the oracles of the Most High? I think we kind of know this, because like we've kind of been reading it the past two slides. But who wants to take a wild guess? I think I was just there. It is. Romans, go to 3 and 2. I'll go ahead and
So
get
do
it.
we want to take a guess at who the oracles are?
Yes,
There will be his people.
correct. Simple answer.
I mean, that's what the scripture says.
Yeah. All right. And so I should have put started I guess 1 through 3, but I mean, because it does get to the point, but just for a little bit more context, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna start at 1 and just read through 1 through 2. So Romans 3, I should have put 1 through 2. What advantage then has the Yahudim or the Yahudi, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the words of Elohim. So it clearly states out there that, and we also read, what did we read in the last slide or the slide before that? That specifically, the wisdom was given to. Yeah, we read that wisdom took up residence in Yaakov, in Yashar'el. So, and we know that the oracles are just the words of the Most High. So it was given to us because we are to what? Disseminate. And to disseminate the information, you have to know what's being said or what's going on, so you can properly give instruction. There we go. How is Yashar'el to treat the other nations who sojourn with us? Well, I just kind of gave a brief, preview of what we're supposed to do, but let's go ahead and read it.
I can get that.
I'll go right ahead.
Let me just get to it real quick. All right. Exodus 12:48 through 51. And this is coming out of the Sefer. And when a stranger shall sojourn with you and will keep the Pesach to Yahuwah, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. One Torah shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourns among you. Thus did all the children of Yashar'el, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that Yahuwah did bring the children of Yashar'el out of the land of Mitzrayim by their armies.
So there you go. So those of other nations who choose to sojourn with us, you have reassurances from the Most High Himself that we are to treat you only according to Torah and not according to our feelings.
No boot kissing required.
Yeah.
That's
so
us.
just essentially, all the Most High is asking is that you be nice to us. Who'd have thought? He's not asking for your money. He's not even asking for you to kill like your firstborn. Just be nice, and we are required to give back the same.
And there's a parallel verse to that in Leviticus 19 too. It basically says the same thing.
I'll go ahead and bring it out.
It's Leviticus 19, verse 34. And verse 34, I think. It says, but the stranger that dwell with you shall be, no, I'm going to go to 33, I'm sorry. And if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, you shall not vex him. Did that happen to us?
Yes.
34. But the stranger that dwell with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt, and I am Yahuwah, your Elohim.
There you go. So there's no need to fear. Actually, if I were a stranger, I'll be rejoicing. Like I'm starting to see some stuff on TikTok, like from the other nations. Like they figuring out that there's something special about us. It's kind of weird how you're on TikTok and still hasn't kind of figured out that we're the people. I don't know, because like it's just a flood of information. But I guess they're working hard with that algorithm to keep that separate. But because like I've seen like a bunch of Moabite women be like, yeah, we shouldn't have sided with Esau. They don't call him Esau, but they say we shouldn't have sided with the white person. And then they're like, yeah, they don't make us feel good either, and we shouldn't even be mean to y'all because they mean to us too. And so now they're starting to grasp it. Hopefully, the Most High will send those folk, uh, you know, uh, uh, an awakened Yashar'el who can kind of help flesh things out and give them even more understanding if they are to be a sojourner to put the pieces together as to why things are the way that they are in the state of the world right now. But it's funny that you know since our punishment has been up, that even the other nations are looking around like, man, something ain't right. Something just ain't right. But
Well, this is those verses are a clear indictment, especially against Christianity. So since the formation of Christianity, they have not been very hospitable to the stranger,
no,
and especially to the children of the Most High.
Uh,
They've done everything except when they say shall not vex.
oh, they
I think Christianity wrote the book on how to vex somebody,
ooh, yeah.
because we have been vexed by, and these, like these were Christians. People don't realize that. These were Christians that did that. These are Christians that did all of this terrible stuff. So, in other words, it wasn't just Christianity, but I said all of these Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, the Muslims. They're all Abrahamic religions, but all of them had a hand in vexing our people and mistreating them.
it's funny like in mainstream media, it's like they hate and love Islam at the same time, and then they don't even cover the what was it, the Arab slave trade. They just don't even talk about that. Like they immediately jump to the Atlantic slave trade. They don't even talk about the Pacific slave trade either. But it's like we love Islam, but you have to respect. We love them, but they're also terrorists in a way. But you gotta respect them. It's a weird double mindedness that they have
Yes, it
about it.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. And I think that that's ridiculous to me because um, we know for a fact, and you see it all over, especially like some of our brothers and sisters that are still in the continent, they experience still to this day racism from the Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
And people try to make it seem like as though that's just the straight up pale people, right? That's doing those things. Yeah, they're masters at what they do. However, these other people are cutthroat. And the scriptures literally say, there's somewhere in there it talks about the Sabians or the something like
Yeah.
that, the name of the
The
people
being.
that yes, that's the most high, that's the ones he's like, I'm gonna sell you, go ahead and give them to them because their ways are extremely harsh, right? Like you can't think that, oh, everybody else, like everybody, the scriptures are very clear, everybody had their hand in
Oh
this.
no,
It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what religion you choose to be. You're the people. They all had their hand in vexing us, making things harder for us. Um, just everywhere. Because if we could escape just the pale face, don't you think we would? Don't you
Yep.
think that if we could just escape because of that, don't you think we would? No, it's everybody. It's everywhere we go. Anywhere we go, it's a two-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? It
Even in
really
your
is.
own continent, because like I've seen like jokes about people like talking about like how their like African grandmother or whatever would be like, look at the, you know, like something something, the table the white man
Mm-hmm.
made or something like that. You
Yep.
know, like everywhere you can go to China, you'll get faced with racism. You go to Japan, you go to India, you go, you know. So it's like it's everywhere. It's systematic. It's generations old.
And even with that, but it's basically Christianity that spread that.
Yeah.
Christianity did the most to spread that hatred towards that you know, our color and who we are. Christianity and Islam are so closely tied together. Uh when the Christians and the Muslims were fighting, there has been because uh Islam is just an offshoot. They're like two peas in a pod, Christianity and Islam.
Yep.
Um,
I forget which pope.
I've read that Muhammad was illiterate, and it was a Catholic priest that wrote the Quran.
Yeah, I forget which pope
So
actually
I don't,
sanctioned.
you know, I lean to believe that because so much of because when you look at how Islam, those leaders in Islam, they're heavily intertwined with the Vatican. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but they are. And just like the Jews are, the Jude, all of those are into what we see now is infighting, but they're all heavily intertwined with each other. So, um, and when you look at Christianity you know, the modern day Christianity started in Rome, spread throughout Europe. Well, uh, a lot of European countries are heavily there. Some of them are outnumbered by Muslims,
Yeah, like Great
Yep.
Britain.
and that war never really stopped. The war between Christians and Muslims, that never really stopped because they were warring. They were warring to see who would have dominance in Israel over Israel. That war has never stopped. So what has happened is that through immigration and all this kind of stuff, Muslims have come in, they have just they basically have taken over. I know France is taken over by Muslims.
Mainly by
Uh,
birth.
Huh? I'm
Mainly
sorry, I
by
didn't hear you.
birth.
Oh, birth.
Mainly by birth. They
Mainly
have
by
way
birth.
more children than French people.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Yes.
yes, there's immigrants, but because they have so many children, and they do polygamy, right? You already know, even in France they do it.
Mm.
They have so many children that the French people only have one, two children.
Mm-hmm.
Them they have six, seven. So
Dang.
yeah,
But I
they
forget
mainly by
I forget now since I read so much stuff and sometimes I forget where I read it. Uh, this this guy who is he is a Muslim. I forget now what his name was, but he said that they would take over Christianity. Um, the Christian nations. And so it kind of falls in line with what scripture says. And look at how their birth rate is falling.
But look at it, y'all. It makes sense though, right? Because you have to think about it. I know that Christians, or the doctrine of Christianity, Eurocentric at that, right?
Yeah.
Like the doctrine of that in general, they can be ruthless, they can do some crazy things, but there's also these people that will straight up stone you. You'll be missing a hand. Like you have to remember that, like the bleeding hearts of, they always say that the bleeding hearts. When these Eurocentric Christians start to see their children being messed up and all that type of stuff, there's only so long that they're going to be able to hold on. Whereas in other people, it hurts them, but they may be willing to how do you say, suffer the cost, like to count the cost, like being like, well, we're gonna have to lose some people. Whereas in the bleeding hearts of America, or per se of people in the majority of Christianity, and I only focus on us because we are considered a so-called Christian nation, right?
Yeah.
There's things that we can't take. And I say we because we live here. But there's certain things that they can't take because they're not used to those things happening to their children. And when it starts to happen to their children, this is when you start to see that major change. So there's going to be a shift. It's already being a shift. Like you said, it's growing. That's the number one religion that's growing right now from what I read last. So like it's gonna happen. And this is why they try to put such a focus on that land over there and those fake people, because they want you to think that what's happening over there is the real deal. But that's just the Most High cleaning out the space.
Yeah.
The
You
real
even got.
show hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. So yeah, you even have people on the left, and I'm not partisan. I don't care.
Right.
That'll be touting Sharia law, and I'm just like, y'all even know
Like
what's
Right.
about to go down?
they be
Yeah,
they be
I say your
endorsing
values alone don't even
But
match up to what.
Yes.
but what a lot of Christians don't realize that all of that comes from Christianity. Because Christianity had a hand in forming Islam. They had a hand in doing that. So, because if the prophet of Islam couldn't read and write, who wrote that?
They lied to
Tehilliym.
them, and now they're irate. They lied to those people and told them that they were going to give them something, and they didn't do it. They didn't follow through with it, and that's why they're constantly at war. So it's crazy that they think that they really thought like, oh, these people are not going to become irate, and then now they fight in a different way that we, or that America is not used to, or that the Christian, like you said, they're not used to fighting the way that these people fight. They're not.
No, they're
And
not.
these people will go underground. They know how to put stuff on the side of the road. Like, I mean, these people, it's a whole nother level of how they operate, and it's cutthroat. And again, they don't even know what they're stepping into. They think that they know. They think that they know. They think, oh yeah, because like, oh, they're ruthless. The Spanish Inquisition, of course, they came up with all kinds of ruthless ways to torture people, right? They think that, but what they don't know is that when it turns up hot, and again, when it's your children, that's gonna be the test. When it's your child, because you can watch adults all day, oh, sad, sad, sad. But when it's your child that's going through it, and you start to see that, it's gonna be a whole different ball game. And I just think that people here specifically don't understand what that looks like. They really don't. We haven't had anything happen here that looked like that since the Civil War.
yeah.
And even then it was different. It was different. So it's about to
Amongst
get hot
themselves.
and heavy.
Like they still kept it pretty much civil amongst themselves. Like, the Confederates and the Union. It was, I
Hmm.
mean, but like, yeah, they weren't like sending each other soldiers to blow, to be human bombs.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was frowned upon. Like even when they did certain things, like burning churches and things like that, there were still like rules. You were supposed to follow rules. Like, but you have to understand these
The
people don't
legal
have
convention.
rules to how they fight, right? So that's a totally different thing when you have rules and you say you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't the women and children are in the church, you can't mess with them. If these people, you can't do that. But when you have someone who says, I don't care what your rules are, we don't go by your rules, this is war, that's a whole different ballgame.
May I step in real quick? Do you mind?
Mhm.
Okay. Because I was listening to what y'all said, and about the religion of Islam being linked up with Christianity. And the thing about that is, when I was in college, I remember our professor, and he was a Catholic, as a Catholic Christian, but they and the Islamic students agree, or at least he did. He said that they worship the same Elohim. The reason why it'd be different for Americans is because Catholicism doesn't acknowledge Christianity here in America, the Protestant type of Christianity. So they would not be included anyhow. It's more like a Catholic and a Muslim thing. So when they unite, and they are rising, the Muslims, of course, but it will be hard on Christians because they're actually not really included in
Okay, yeah.
yeah, in the Catholicism.
Okay,
So
Because
I mean,
makes
yeah,
sense.
so yeah, because they're Protestants. So I mean,
because because Christianity is Catholicism, but when it started
yeah, it
out, it was
is.
Catholicism.
It is because
Catholicism.
they are,
So,
period. If
yeah,
Christianity, no matter what, that's
yeah.
when I learned that Christianity is Catholicism, but they don't realize it. They
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that they are. And because they don't realize that they are, they don't include themselves. But when these things start taking place, I think it's going to be more aimed at them anyhow. But no, you're correct. They I mean, they are linked together. I mean, that's just something that I learned long ago. That's the first one of the first things Abba taught me when I came into the truth. I mean, they're just linked together. Period.
They are. And unbeknownst to us, they do meet with the Pope at the Vatican all the time. It's just that
Yeah, they're
we don't hear
required
about
to.
it.
Yeah, they're required to. They all bow the knee. Even Creflo Dollar has been there. All of them have been there. All of them have.
And
That's
I'm
crazy.
talking about the Muslim Islam, the Islam leaders too. They go to the Vatican. We
Yeah,
just don't
they
hear
all
about it.
do. No, they're all. I mean, their Catholicism is the one that created all of these different
All
entities.
of these,
They
yes.
created them all. Everybody, every religion, the majority of them all come out of Catholicism. The lie was created there.
True. It amazes me that and don't get it wrong. I understand what's happening over there in the land right now, right? But what were happening to the so-called Black Palestinians for years? So you got all these people like Candace Owens. She's over there with, like you said, the bleeding heart. Look what they're doing to these babies. But the Palestinians, you know what I'm saying? They were they were doing black so-called Black Palestinians worse than what they're being treated right now. So, and it's just a fact. And so the Jewish people, they're doing the same thing. You know that they're mocking the people that are in the land anyway. But they're no better than the people who are blowing them up. You know, like so I'm
The
looking at it
Amber,
like
There,
what are we doing here? Like everyone's crying about Palestine now, but nobody was crying about the Black Palestinians because they're
right.
like the truth be told, there's racism within Islam.
Mhm.
It's very deep rooted. You know what I'm
that's
Huh.
saying?
like
And
I don't understand the Nation of Islam folk. Like y'all know we like y'all went from white Jesus to white Muhammad, right? I was like y'all ain't
Talking
never
about, talking about forward. Yeah.
yeah.
Look at forward. You like good night.
I know.
yeah, but
But
I
it's
don't
just
know.
judgment. Judgment comes around, and when it comes around,
Hmm.
it's just coming around to them now.
Yeah, all that nastiness and all the killing and murdering and stuff they were doing to they would say, yeah, our people been in this land for thousands. Yeah, some people been in that land for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was people in there before you were in there.
Yeah, maybe the dark skinned ones. Like, come
Yeah.
on, bro. Like let's get serious like with history. Like it's not that far off. And then we see what happened when Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated, right?
Yeah.
Then
He.
all the Libyan people went into slavery to the to Islam, to the Arabs. Like like did we forget that? We not listening to what's happening to all the Christians in Nigeria right now? By the thousands, they're getting slaughtered. Like I don't know, man. Like the agenda is so much bigger than everybody is giving it credit to be. So I say I just sit back and just watch and see. Okay, you're crying like for years. And this is not just to get on the soapbox about Candace Owens, but I'm just paying attention. For years, she's always had the most negative things to say about our people here. But now you're championing people who are not your people because of the atrocities that are happening to them by the thousands, right? But you didn't say anything that were happening by the hundreds to the black Palestinians over there. So I just think it's kind of like, so what are you really talking about?
Yeah.
Because we don't see what happened to the black Palestinians.
Like you
I've
said.
seen some of the stuff that happened to them. So
Candace is a what, Christian or Catholic now or something like that, right?
yeah, and yeah, this is not about her. She's part of she's a cog in the system.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? She's a what you would call a Trojan horse. You know what I'm saying? So
House Negro. Yeah.
no, she's a Trojan. Because you have to be in the house to be a house Negro first. You know. So, you know.
It's- but even still, like, just read your Bible. Like, they act like Most High,
Yeah.
like, people forgot that Most High carries out judgments brutally. Like,
Yeah.
he'll wipe out an entire civilization in a day if you piss him off. And, like, people forget about that. I'm like, y'all sure y'all Christians? Y'all ain't read your book? It's been plenty of instances where Most High wipes out entire civilizations in an afternoon. It's like, y'all don't think that's the Most High carrying out that stuff? Y'all think it's just, you know, the devil per se? Like, the Most High gives credence to the devil. Like, look, they sins are stacked up. Hand them my white work. Make it bloody. Make it to where they won't forget. And it's just weird to me. Like, people don't ever consider that it's the Most High. It's not just evil people. That's a judgment from the Most High. And you need to ask, if there's judgment being carried out on your land or your country, why? Like, that's the question we had to ask. It's like, wait, why are we immediately talk bad about just from showing up in the room? Like, we ain't talked to nobody here. We just got to this country on a vacation. They treating us like, we stole something from their kids. They watching us in their stores, like we about to, try to take everything they got. And it's like, yeah, like there's something, but they're base men. They don't ask questions past the obvious. That's basically what it comes down to. But who shall judge the nations, and how long will they reign? This is a question I know we know, but get these out here for the nations that don't know. Who wants to get Sirach 4, 1 through 15? Not Sirach 4. Sirach 4, 11 through 15, not 1 through
I'll get it.
15. Go right ahead. I keep.
Oh, so let me turn this down real quick. Okay, coming from the Sefer. Wisdom exalts her children and lays hold them that seek her. He that loves her loves life, and they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy. He that holds her fast shall inherit glory, and whosoever she enters, Yahuwah will bless. They that serve her shall minister to the Holy One, and them that love her Yahuwah loves. Whoso gives ear unto her shall judge the nations, and he that attends unto her shall dwell securely.
All right. There you go. So There's the first segment of that, and it just confirms that you know, it'll be Yashar'el, but let's go ahead and confirm it once more in Jeremiah 31, 35 through 36. Do you want to go ahead and get it again, Aki?
Okay, give me a second. That's Jeremiah.
Okay.
35 to 36. Okay, sorry about that. My phone's dragging. It's like got a serious delay in it. All right, again from the Sefer. Thus says Yahuwah, which gives the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divides the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, says Yahuwah, then the seed of Yashar'el also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
There you go. So, and Sirach confirms that we shall judge the nations as long as we are adhering to the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High set forth in the Torah, and that our reign will be forever. It's official. Our punishment is over. We are now just waiting for the return of our Mashiach. And to summarize, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. The keys to the kingdom. So I'm going to update number 3 from where's that? It's in the way. There you go. And I'll be sending that back out to the rest of the Bishop with the update. So, and then let's go. There you go. I can still see the slide, right? Oh wait, it didn't update.
Negative.
Oh,
No.
okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. I see what it did. There you go. So these are the 5 key things that will help in your walk for the Gentiles. Is 1, fear Yahuwah. 2, believe on Yahusha as your savior, which we saw. We read a couple examples. One from the Canaanite woman that that beseeched Yahusha on behalf of her daughter. 3, I say consider the possibility that the Ruach HaKodesh is wisdom and also female. And 4, sojourn with us. Say, and tell people when you talk about us that we're not black, we're not FBAs, we're not African American. We're the sons and daughters of Yahuwah. We're the children of the Most High God. Because that acknowledgement lets the Most High know and his angels that you are truly allies and you're not just begrudgingly accepting the information that we're giving out, that you're in full acceptance and look forward to our rule. Not that you need to worship us. That's not what we're saying. But it is that mission that the things of that your forefathers have done to us were wrong, and you seek to see that corrected. And in that solidarity with us, we are required to show mercy to you on that day of judgment. So That, and number 5, learn and keep the commandments. And again, you learn 5 by sojourning with us, because we are the only ones that can teach you properly how to keep the law, statutes, commandments. Because what, we are the oracles of the Most High, or the Most High-Yah, as they say. And that concludes today's lesson. I hope everybody enjoyed this spirited discussion, and that they come back and join us in future posts or live streams that we do for our lessons, because we're all just trying to get it right. Again, on the discussion of the Ruach HaKodesh, I'm not trying to knowingly deceive or coerce anybody into anything. It's just information I found to be considered, and I pray that the Most High in due time will make it abundantly clear to everybody on that matter. Again, I have no problem coming back and apologizing if I accidentally poisoned the well. But let's go ahead and finish out with the lesson closing. I'll read it. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and guard his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Elohim shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And that's from Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, 12:13-14. And here are they. Here's the patience of the Kodashim. Here are they that guard the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief of Yahusha. And that's it. Shalom, shalom, and shalom. It's your brother. What brother? This your Aki Ori. Goodbye. There we go. And where's the... Where's the stop recording thing?